All right, good afternoon. Calling to order General Government Appropriations Subcommittee. Appreciate everyone being here. A couple of quick remarks before we begin. Obviously, this is a crazy time for everybody right now. We're going to be some people are going to be moving in and out of the meeting, including myself. We will get through these 5 resolutions. If we're not here, we'll hold a vote until I'm back. But we're gonna hear from these 5 here in a minute. I've allowed for Chairman Petrie to come in and speak to us for 2 minutes. He didn't get a chance to do it previously. So Jesse, Chairman Petrie, go ahead. Where is he? There.
Can y'all hear me? Thank you, Chairman. I'm here today to speak to a budget item that I'd like to emphasize to the committee as you continue to work through the big budget. I want y'all to be aware of something. Does everybody have this handout that just went around from Georgia Department of Natural Resources? What you'll notice there, y'all are all familiar, and we passed GOSA here, Georgia Outdoor Stewardship Act, which provides money in this state for land preservation and other protections of sensitive sites and improvements of trails and things of that nature. We're doing some remarkable work with that program. What you'll notice if you look down there at allocations on the right column, you will see that we have fallen by $7 million this year. We've seen a dramatic decline. We think that's post-pandemic related, folks not buying. Obviously, these proceeds come from outdoor equipment, ammunition, et cetera. And we've seen a decline there. My hope, and I've discovered from the department that we have the ability to directly put money into GOSA. It doesn't only have to come from the statutory way we created it through the sale proceeds. We can add money. My ask is that we, through this committee, in our budget in the House, add something. I would like to see $7 million to bring it up to parity. If we could get back to that $30 million figure, we're able to do more. The state is growing more rapidly than history. The whole world is moving here. We now are up to like almost 11 million folks. I think we all understand the burden that's putting on society. We need more green space as we continue to grow rapidly, and my hope is that we can do this through your committee. Mr. Chairman, that's really all I have to present, and I appreciate you giving me the time to do so.
Absolutely, I appreciate you being here, and members of the committee. The chairman and I have spoken to this somewhat at length, and part of this is obviously how the law is written currently, and the trigger to essentially pull the funding if you have a decrease in the revenue generated from that up to a percentage. So have also encouraged us looking at that formula to see if we can maybe secure this for the ongoing future, so that we don't have to come back and look at it every single time.
Yes, sir. Love that idea as well, Mr. Chairman.
Question, Mr. Speaker, if I could.
Yes, please.
Mr. Chairman. Now, the governor requests 23 million. I don't remember.
No, so the 23 million, that is, remember, so under GOSA, those are funds that are accumulated through our, the purchases of Georgians for those, those items that provide money to GOSA. So that is not any kind of budget add. What I'm asking is that we begin to consider doing that also, even if it's only this year, until we fix some of the issues that the chairman just spoke to.
All right, Chairman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for bringing this concept to us. I was one of the ones who was there in the beginning when it was called the Legacy Act, which is even further back, and it's been a long journey for this to become what we have now. But it comes from the sale of sports equipment, outdoor recreation, so it's targeted to actually uses all of these resources, and it has certainly been advantageous all over the state. And one of the requirements of this to even be funded is that it has to be participatory. You have to have adjoining commonality with counties and cities. It doesn't just go to one person. So the whole point was to continue to make Georgia a great outdoor recreation space, and applaud your efforts.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
All right. All right. right, now as we move into these, the compensation resolutions, you know, I've talked to the authors. Certainly some of these we've heard before. Please go into it as in depth as you would like. We need to hear these things. I also believe that we should change this in legislation so that we are not in the posture of having to do this. That bill has been dropped. I encourage you to sign on to it so that we can move these things forward without having to go through this arduous process for these folks that need this. With that, I'll bring up Representative Evans. Do you want to? Where would you like to be? Wherever you're comfortable, I'm fine. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I'm bringing before you House Resolutions 118 and 119. These are both resolutions that passed out of the subcommittee and full committee and the House floor last year. I will briefly go into these, starting actually with House Resolution 119 is to compensate Mario Stinchcomb. Mr. Stinchcomb is here today and in the back. Mr. Stinchcomb was the first exoneration actually by the Fulton Conviction Integrity Unit. He shot in self-defense. He maintained from the beginning that he had shot in self-defense. Physical evidence has always supported that the shooting was in self-defense. The biggest thing with this case is that there was a key witness to the murder that was believed to be dead at the time of trial. And so no one heard that testimony. 14 years later, it was learned that he was, in fact, this witness was not dead, and he, of course, corroborated the self-defense scenario that was also supported by physical evidence. But, unfortunately, there was a lot of passage of time. Mr. Stinchcomb spent 18 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. Missed time with family, employment, all the pleasures of life that we love, did his best to put his life back together, and there's nothing we can do to fully compensate him for the 18 years that he lost, but we do humbly ask the committee to consider the compensation in this resolution, and I ask you to please vote yes, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Chairman Tarvin.
Quickly, when the gentleman shot in self-defense, the witness that saw that, the person that shot in self-defense was told he was dead, or explain what we're...
The witness that was not available at trial who corroborated the self-defense theory, which was in addition to physical evidence, always supporting self-defense theory, that witness was believed to be dead by, I believe, the prosecution, and so they never sought out to bring that person in.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Representative Mitchell.
Mr. Chairman, I couldn't agree with you more. Your steadfast leadership on this issue in this committee bears out some good judgment in that it should be, as it is in most other states, that this is an issue that should not be resolved by a committee of politicians who would endeavor to give some legislators more weight than others. This should be an algorithm that if it is proven that they were wrongly incarcerated, it's X times how many years, and go on. For that reason, the evidence suggests that this person was indeed wrongfully incarcerated, and I move to pass.
Thank you, Representative Mitchell. Only one correction I'll make to your statement is I feel like we're public servants, not politicians.
But that wasn't for you, though. That was the others who would...
People that aren't here.
Yeah, people who are not here and who would deny these unjustly incarcerated...
Members of the committee, any other questions for Representative Chairman Prince?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And to Representative Evans, this was last year we had this, is that correct?
Yes.
And can you tell me what happened, why was it?
It passed out of subcommittee, full committee, House floor, and we got stalled in the Senate.
You got stalled in the Senate, okay. I'd like to second that motion whenever you get a chance. That was made by Chairman Mitchell.
Well, it seems like this would be appropriate time for a motion if somebody had one. Billy, I'm sorry, Representative Mitchell. Yeah. And I hear a second. let's procedurally, let's make sure we get this right. We're on House Resolution 119. Make sure we're talking about the right one, 119. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. Thank you for bringing it. If you want to move,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members
118.
of the committee. House Resolution 118 is seeking compensation on behalf of Michael Woolfolk, who's also with us today in the back. He was Mr. Stinchcomb's co-defendant. Same scenario, same fact pattern, also exonerated, and also seeking compensation on behalf of Mr. Woolfolk under House Resolution 118, and ask for your favorable consideration.
any questions from the committee? Chairman Tarvin.
So both of these gentlemen were there,
Yes,
and they were both said they were acting in self-defense.
yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
And physical evidence supported the self-defense theory on behalf of both gentlemen and the eyewitness.
Any other discussion?
Just
Representative Reeves.
breaking the math down, 13 years. He was-
18 years. It took 14 years to find the witness that was believed to be dead.
Thank you.
Representative Mitchell.
Yeah, once again, Mr. Chairman, I have to applaud your leadership on this issue. Once again, Mr. Chairman, I have to applaud your leadership on this issue, and when it's appropriate, I'd like to make a motion to do pass.
I don't see any other questions, members of the committee? Okay, one more.
Thank you,
Chairman Smith.
Mr. Chairman. Was there a reason given by the Senate as to why they did not move forward with either of these?
I think I better just say no. I
Pardon?
think I better just say no. I have
Okay.
my theories, but no reason
Okay,
stated.
all right, so just inaction on their
Yes.
part.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second? Hearing a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. All right, thank you, Rep.
Thank you, committee.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. All right, we're gonna, Chairman Dempsey, like others, are juggling schedules, so we're gonna move on to Representative Crawford, if you're ready. We'll do House Resolution 130. Wherever you'd like to be. We're a small enough group here. I think we can hang out together if you'd like.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to members of the committee. I'm here bringing House Resolution 130 on behalf of Mr. Cedric Moore, and because this is a resolution that has not been heard before the committee, I will give a brief summary of the facts of the case and give you a little information about Mr. Moore. This case stems from a 1993 incident where a group of young men were robbing homes in a neighborhood. On one particular night, as they were having a robbing spree, these group of men, one man sexually assaulted a lady. The lady was asked questions about what occurred that night, and the victim actually stated that Mr. Moore, who I'm speaking on behalf today, was not the perpetrator. However, police officers led her to believe that she was confused about the incident. Subsequently, a neighbor testified that Mr. Moore was involved in the incident, even though there was no other evidence to support this testimony. Another person by the name of Mr. White was questioned about this incident and gave inconsistent testimony which implicated Mr. Moore. Mr. Moore was detained in prison for approximately 16 years, and almost again 20 years later, more modern testing indicated that the testimony of the witness who implicated Mr. Moore was inconsistent, and the DNA did not match Mr. Moore. Mr. Moore was released after that information was shared, that again, the DNA did not match Mr. Moore after 16 years. And so at this time, I want to just kind of tell you about Mr. Moore. While he was detained and incarcerated, Mr. Moore had a child. That child was taken away from the mother's custody, and Mr. Moore has not seen his child since the child was born. These are the type of things that, on top of the fact that Mr. Moore has not been able to work, that we want to compensate Mr. Moore for. So I ask that you give favorable consideration to House Resolution 130.
All right, thank you. Chairman Prince.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Crawford, for bringing this. Just a couple of questions, just for my clarity, and thank you for being brief. But it took 16 years for the DNA to have the test, or was he not tested prior to that with DNA, and then?
There were modern advancements. So this case occurred actually in 1993, but the trial did not occur until 2002. Modern testing in DNA proved that Mr. Moore, that there was not a valid DNA match for Mr. Moore. And then there were also studies that showed that DNA using the technology back then would find a random African American almost 18 times more likely to be a contributor than Mr. Moore. So it was advancements in DNA testing that proved that Mr. Moore was not there.
Thank you. Okay, the advancements, thank you.
Chairman Tarver.
Did Mr. Robinson didn't serve any time, or what did I?
That's a great question. Thank you. Mr. Robinson did serve time, and coincidentally, 2 years ago, Representative Holcomb brought a House resolution on behalf of Mr. Robinson, who was also released because he had nothing to do with the crime as well. So, coincidentally, they were co-defendants, same crime.
But Robinson had already been compensated.
Robinson has already been compensated,
Thank you, sir.
correct? Thank you.
Representative Reeves.
Representative Crawford, I'm looking through the timeline just to make sure everybody's clear. This was even longer than the first two who we heard earlier. How many years total are we talking about here?
A little over 16 years.
16 years.
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions from the committee? What's the pleasure of the committee? Representative Mitchell.
Mr. Chairman, I move to pass.
I hear move. Here's second. Any discussion? All's in favor, say aye. All opposed, like sign. Representative Crawford, I appreciate it. We will move this on to full committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to members of the committee.
At this time, it's actually lining up with where I need to be. We're gonna take a brief recess. I'll touch base with Chairman Dempsey. Representative Mitchell, did you hit your?
I was going to say, I think we're all familiar with the circumstances surrounding Chairman Dempsey's legislation. Could a motion be offered at this time?
Representative Mitchell, I've never heard you have a better idea. So, members, let's look at that real quick. Then let's House Resolution 128. Again, as Representative Mitchell stated, we are familiar with this. We have passed these out before. If there's no concern over it with the committee here, I would entertain a motion for moving this forward. Representative Mitchell.
Mr. Chairman, I move to pass.
Hearing a motion in a second. Yes, sir. We are on House Resolution 128. Hearing a motion in a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion passed. Moving on to HR 129. If it pleases the committee, we will also take a motion here. Representative Mitchell.
Mr. Chairman, I move to pass.
I hear a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, like sign. Motion passes. That is correct. You know, that is actually what we have for the day. We got some other things we'll be hearing. Watch your meeting notices. Obviously, a lot of things in flux right now, but appreciate you guys being here. Meeting adjourned.